Ladies and gentlemen, WWE 2K26 is right around the corner, and yes, on this channel we're going to talk a lot of 2K26 because honestly for me, 25 has pretty much been wrapped up unless they come out with a world tour and my faction, something that I would really enjoy as a consumer, right? Not even as a creator at this point. I'm still playing 2K25 here and there. I like to hop on, play a couple matches, but I want something to keep me playing, and that would be a world tour, just me personally, right? But till that happens, 2K26 is right around the corner, y'all. If you guys remember, we got our first screenshots of WWE 2K26, I believe on January 6th last year. And that makes sense because Raw on Netflix happened on January 6th. So we got to see screenshots that were released by Xbox at the time. And then when you went on Steam, you also saw that. So there was just a lot at the time with 2K25 where we got those released and we got that shown to us and we saw what it was. But all that does for me now at this point in the year is get me hyped up for the next year, because we know that in about 2 to 3 weeks, the floodgates are going to open, and that's what usually happens when we get to January and 2K. That just seems to be the beginning of their marketing cycle and all that good stuff. But with the fiscal, we did see that the game is going to have a very similar release window in March, and hopefully it doesn't get any earlier than that. I know that some people may like that. Me personally, I would, and I want them to have all the time that they can have as possible with the new game. But it is very possible that we do get it a little bit earlier, because last year we got the game about a week earlier than we did 2K24. So there are a lot of things that could happen this year that we'll have to see as things unfold. But looking at that, right, we still don't know what consoles this is going to be on. Right now, we obviously know Xbox Series X, PS5, those are a lock. But there has been, rumors over the years with PC possibly going away because of the things that they have locked out with the island and, the modding and things like that. And I want to clarify, I don't mean modding like where players are trying to make the game better and just update the game, but I guess data mining would be the better word right now. So many things have been leaked throughout this year, which I'm sure 2K can't be a fan of. I mean, the farewell tour pack, which would have been huge if obviously it didn't get leaked, that was something that was, leaked. And I'm sure that they're probably tired of seeing those surprises being leaked. My faction persona cards gets leaked, things like that. And again, I'm not sure where it's going, but every time that they say, hey, 2K26 is coming out, and always say TBA on the consoles, which for other games, it doesn't do that. But for 2K26, it does that. And again, we don't know if it's coming out on last generation consoles, which is another big conversation that people like to have. And we don't know if it's coming out on PC either. I think the two that are considered locks 100%, 150%, Xbox Series S/X, PS5, and then we just kind of sit around and wait till we actually, see them drop some news on the new game. WWE 2K25 screenshots dropped very, very early last year in January. I don't know if I expect the same to happen this year because Raw on Netflix was a thing last year, as I mentioned earlier in the video. But we always get something in January. 2-3 weeks later after the 6th, we went ahead and got some trailers, and the gameplay trailer, if I'm not mistaken, was released on January 27th. And that is one thing as well that we have to be on the lookout for, because if it's going to be anything similar, we may just not see screenshots that early, but we'll see the trailer around 3rd, 4th week of January, which that's what most people are looking forward for. And I had to go ahead and pull up my calendar. In the 4th week of January, January 26th, there is an episode of Monday Night Raw, which we could very well see the first gameplay trailer. That's something that's always going to happen with Raw, at least for the last couple years. They show the game off right then and there on Raw, and then they start dropping it on social media. So I think that that's something that can very, very well happen on January 26th. And again, this is pure speculation, but I like to speculate. I know you guys like to do that as well. And this is just what I think can happen. I'm probably about a 70-75% chance right, because the history has not changed much over the years. It's always very similar. Trailer drops in January, gameplay screenshots drop in January, and then once February comes out, that's when we actually start to get lots and lots and lots of news of the game because we probably had just seen the gameplay revealed through the trailer not long before that. So I'm excited for WWE 2K26. The one thing that I do want though is for us to get the games only on current gen consoles, just because I feel that we could take better advantage of the resources that they put into that game instead of trying to split these resources into the last Xbox and the last PlayStation. Like Madden was a game, right, that again, it has a lot of opinions, right? Bad, good opinions. I mean, not every game is going to be perfect, but to me personally, right, when you play Madden, you notice the difference, right? Because it's no longer on last generation consoles, it's only on current gen consoles. So you notice graphically the difference. You notice that they're putting much more time into it. And again, for the most part, with the resources that 2K has, it really feels like WWE 2K, the last couple years, aside from the patches, it has been a very, very solid game. But again, I feel that graphics could be better, hair could be better. There's so many things that could be better. For the last couple years, we've been seeing a game that looks very, very similar to the year before and the year before and the year before. 2K22 was the last big refresh this game had. And now keep in mind, I'm not asking for a big refresh here. What I'm asking for is better graphics. Just imagine that time that you're taking into last gen consoles and, you know, money that you're spending and putting it into last gen consoles was poured into graphics and things like that, right? I wouldn't say that the models are the biggest of my complaints, but the championships, those are titles that I believe some of them don't even look 3D the way that they look like in real life, where the W pops out the championship. You don't really see that in WWE 2K games, and I think that has to do with the graphics and what is there. I'm not no game developer. Maybe it could even be the engine. I don't know, but I don't think the engine is changing. And again, I agree with a lot of you guys when you guys say, hey, you know, the engine isn't going to change. I 100% agree with that. I don't think the engine is going to change. They've added way too much throughout the years. To go now and start from scratch on a new engine, it just wouldn't make sense from a business standpoint nor a game development standpoint. WWE 2K26, as I said in my last video, they need to come back with something real groundbreaking, a new mode, something crazy. And that is probably going to be the tagline and what they hang on to. We can talk about roster all we want all day. Mr. Iguana just got added to WWE Supercard, and he is someone that's with AAA. So again, what could that mean for the WWE 2K26 roster? It could mean a lot, because usually people that are in Supercard get into the WWE 2K games as well. Not always, but there's always that, you know, coincidence where they go from Supercard to 2K. I remember it happened with a couple wrestlers in the past. So again, that is something to be on the lookout for as well. With the TNA and AAA, there's a lot of positives to look into the roster. I'm going to make a more of a deep dive video into that type of stuff as well. The roster can be huge. As much as we're losing characters, it can still be really, really huge going into 2K26. I think between that and maybe a story designer mode or something new, something groundbreaking, it could really sell the game very well throughout the year. And I think that it could sell me as, you know, a fan of the franchise. Hey, you know, this is fire. New roster, new mode. We'll really have to see what happens in the future. But I wanted to go on ahead and speak about this, right? Because we're just right there, just a couple weeks away. We do have a WWE 2K26 reveal. At some point, it's coming. So make sure you guys keep your eyes peeled for that. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe if you guys have been enjoying the content. I'm going to catch y'all. Peace.